So as it's looking more and more likely that Errol Spence Jr. will return to the ring against Tszyu in the summer of this year, I wanted to talk a bit about the fight because I think a lot of people were really excited to see Errol Spence come back, and I am too. I was a huge Errol Spence fan. But looking at how Errol Spence is now and looking at who he's reported to come back against Tszyu, a lot of people are heavily favouring Errol Spence, but I really wouldn't be surprised if we saw a Tszyu win here, right? I think Tszyu is still a live body. He's still a fighter at the end of the day. He lost to Murta's Alive, yeah. Got the breaks beaten off of him by Murta's Alive. Lost twice to Fandora as well. Got beaten up badly twice by Fandora, particularly in that second fight too. So he's had 3 bad losses in, a very short period of time. But in all of those fights, he showed up and he, bit down and he tried to fight. He showed a lot of toughness in those fights. He didn't just turn up and roll over. Murta's Alive had to keep putting it to him. Alright, Tszyu wasn't giving up in that fight. Tszyu was taking those shots, coming back, and let's go, bro. And even though his face was showing a lot of shock when he felt that power from Murta's Alive, he was still ready. Went there and tried to fight he tried to fight Fandora toe to toe, and it didn't work, and it was never going to work. Same against Murta's Alive, it was never going to work. But against the Errol Spence now that is, yes, granted, he's older, equally in his own right, got the brakes beaten off of him by Crawford, and unlike Tszyu, he's not been active for the past couple of years. Right? So he got a huge loss there, a huge bad loss there, and then takes 2 years off. Right? And in the footage I've seen of Errol Spence since, it's not looked great. If I'm being honest, it's not looked great at all. He's looked slow, he looked clumsy, he looks plodding, and he was already a plodding fighter. Even in a prime, Errol Spence was a plodding fighter, but if you're plodding and you're slow and a bit clumsier, you're a lot more hittable. And you're older now, he's moving up to a heavier weight division. Tszyu's not got pillow hands. Tszyu's not got pillow hands. Now, he's had a couple bad results, but he's no scrub. He's no scrub. I like Tszyu, and at one point, at 154, he was a seriously top name at 154. He was never the man at 154. I'm not going to say that. He was never the man at the division, but he was one of the top names, for sure. For sure, one of the top names, and was highly regarded for a long time. Errol Spence, in my opinion, I think he's too far removed from his prime. I think he's taken a long time out the ring, and there's a sweet spot to be found where, yes, you need time to recover from a bad loss like that. But being out the ring for this many years is never going to be a positive for you. It's never going to be a positive. Like, I would have rather him, have that loss to Crawford, and then maybe he fights a guy 7, 8, 9 months later in a 10-rounder. A little scrub, a guy who's lost 5 or 6, maybe even 7 times before as a bounce back, right? And then you fight again, maybe 6 months after that, maybe another 10-rounder. Then after that, a title eliminator, and now you get a chance at a world championship. That's how you actually rebuild a guy. If you're just saying at this point in my career, well, I'm getting old, I'm getting slow, I'm not being as disciplined with my training, I just want the biggest paydays I can get, then you take a fight against Tszyu, and then if you win that, you can fight for a world championship. Or even if you lose that, it's still going to be a decent payday, because Spence v Tszyu would be a big fight. Like, a lot of people would want to see Errol Spence in his comeback fight for sure. That's definitely something that sells tickets, definitely generates interest. And Tszyu's a guy who, yes, granted, he's lost a lot of name value, where, he's had 3 bad losses, so he's lost a lot of name value, but you can still market him. He's still got some good wins on his resume. He's still been in there with some top guys. He was still regarded as one of the top names at 154 at one point, even though he's not now currently still regarded one of those top guys. He was at one point. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. What do you think of this fight? I really wouldn't be surprised if we saw Tszyu upset though. Granted, I say it's an upset. I haven't seen the odds because I don't know if they've even got odds for this yet, because it's not been confirmed. But I really wouldn't be surprised if Tszyu was able to get the win here. I'd be curious to know what you guys think in the comments below. Another episode of the Seth solo side quest in the bag, and I'm out. Peace.